Thank you, Brian. Before we step into reporting itself, I want to take a step back and focus on the end-to-end process. Because if that process isn't solid, reporting very quickly becomes a major burden. Good reports don't start at the end. They start much earlier. Everything begins with a protocol or analysis plan that defines what a study looks like and what questions we're trying to answer, and how we plan to get from our inputs to the outputs we need. It also helps us understand what data is required, so we can set clear expectations up front. Beyond the plan, we need to think carefully about where the data comes from, which standards and formats are used, and how the data flows through the analysis. In reality, this is rarely simple. We may be dealing with multiple data sources, inconsistent standards, or unclear rules around exclusions, all while being expected to deliver a wide range of outputs, from CDIS datasets and TFLs to table figures and listings to final reports, often using different tools along the way. This makes the workflow and chain of custody critical. You need to know exactly which data was used to generate a specific table or figure and what will be used to generate the memo. This may require a GXP compliant repository, full traceability, audit trails, and of course, all of that combined, it has to stay clear where the data came from. If these questions only came up in the middle of the project and you don't have the answers, it's often too late, causing delays within the project. You may lose time, but also introducing risk with accuracy and other problems. The reporting may start later, and now it may be too late to fix some of the other problems within the process. But if the process is well defined, reporting becomes the final straightforward step, using the right data, the right outputs, making sure you can deliver the report or the memo in the correct format and on time. If you are currently reconsidering your workflow, I would encourage you to step back and look at the entire end-to-end process and the challenges that can arise at each stage, to reflect on your own organization and how do we use those tools? How do we use this across all the steps, and how does it differ between different scientists and analysis? It may be surprising what you find within an organization. But with every analysis, it starts with a solid plan, whether it's a protocol, an analysis plan, or probably both, sometimes created weeks or months before the analysis actually begins. But this information is useful as it helps us shape what is the goal of the analysis. The decisions made here will help us move forward in making determinations and how to take specific decisions along the process, and will at the end smoothen the process and also smoothen the creation of the output. Once the analysis starts, we typically see these four phases: preparation of the data, analysis of the data, the creation of the TFL outputs, and then finally utilizing those in reports and memos. Now, when talking about data preparation, merging data can of course come from multiple sources. It can be inconsistent. We may receive multiple versions, but that all means that potentially risks and errors if we don't know what we expect. So it's important that we have defined what we can expect so we can appropriately take actions on the data when we receive it. In the analysis phase, we set our BOQ rules, we calculate the NCA, and we do anything that is needed to get the proper output. That, of course, is the part where we create the tables and figures and listings. This often requires further transformations to get it into the formats and the type of output that is desired. Finally, all this information, the data, the analysis, the protocol, the outputs, they all are put together into this final memo or memos and reports. By this point, the process has already been taken a while and can have been very time consuming, but if we have taken care of the workflow, any issues from earlier steps will now be taken care of. However, any unresolved issues will still remain in the final memo, and now we might have detected them too late, leading to extra delays within our project. So ask yourself, does our data preparation take too long and produce errors? How does our flagging and NCA calculation work? Is it as efficient as it could be? And also, are we spending too much time on generating the reports and making sure that our reports are produced in a consistent format across the different scientists. If these questions sound familiar, that's exactly why we're here and we can help. Over the past 2 years, the Phoenix team here at Certara has been working towards a single goal, delivering a solution that brings all the must-have of the PK workflow together into one end-to-end experience. We're pleased to say that this vision came together with the launch of Phoenix Cloud in 2025. Phoenix Cloud connects every step of the workflow, from data ingestion all the way through report generation in a single integrated process. Across the 4 stages that we discussed earlier, Phoenix Cloud provides cloud-enabled tools that streamline and guide your work, while maintaining data provenance, traceability, and audit trails. For data preparation, Phoenix Cloud includes Phoenix Hosted, along with the WinOnLin and PK Submit module, which was developed in collaboration with industry leaders to streamline and standardize data preparation for NCA. PK Submit helps bring greater consistency, efficiency, and industry standard practices into the NCA workflow, producing faster and more reliable results. Analysis itself, of course, is performed using WinOnLin, our flagship product and industry trusted solution for NCA, bioequivalence, and other related analysis. WinOnLin remains the analysis backbone, delivering the trusted results expected by regulatory agencies worldwide. For the output generation, Phoenix can still produce the tables and figures directly, but we've also introduced our TFL Studio module, a full native SaaS solution launched in 2025. TFL Studio integrates with PK Submit and WinOnLin through our integrated data repository Integral, enabling the creation of high-quality tables and figures and listings using modern cloud technologies, utilizing your company standards, and built-in traceability. With the launch of AIPK reports, we've now added this final step for report and memo generation. This is the second native SaaS component in the Phoenix Cloud portfolio and is available as an add-on for Phoenix Cloud. With this new tool, we can significantly streamline this generation of these memos. It's also the first AI-powered tool in the Phoenix portfolio, and it's designed to assist you with generating high-quality memos. So with all these connected components, we now covered the entire workflow. But before I dive in deeper to AIPK reports, let's take a moment and look at the why behind this approach. Let's take a look at memo and report generation and some of the most common challenges we hear from the market. First, it's extremely time-consuming. Creating a high-quality report or memo can take anywhere from a few hours to several days. That time directly translates into higher project costs. And if revisions are required, after QA review, for example, then the effort, time, and cost can quickly multiply. Despite this high effort, much of the work at this stage is still highly manual. From a scientific perspective, very little new analysis is actually happening in this phase. Instead, the process largely consists of transferring results from one format to another, copying and pasting, restructuring content, and fitting it to the required document templates. And even with all that effort and people's best intentions, the quality and consistency of the documents can vary significantly. Output can vary based on experience between junior and senior authors, between individuals, personal preferences, and of course between organization and organizational standards. This leads to inconsistencies in structure, wording, presentation, and ultimately complicates the interpretation of all the data. The name AIPK Reports explains a lot of what the product does. It utilizes AI to generate PK reports. It leverages the AI to support extracting the information from the source documents and then producing the output accordingly. Now, I know that AI is a popular topic today, and not every problem is a good fit for AI. But one area where AI truly excels is working with text, interpreting structured information, summarizing results, and helping draft clear, consistent conclusions. This is exactly what a memo is. So if you look at what the memo generation actually involves, it sits squarely in the sweet spot for today's GPT-based AI technologies. At this stage in the workflow, the science has already been done. What remains is translating the existing data, tables, and analysis into a structured document, work that is highly manual, repetitive, and time-consuming. So with this new tool that is now developed, it is designed to take over that manual effort. Instead of someone copying and pasting content, AI agent will now be responsible analyzing the input, such as the protocols, the analysis plans, and the Phoenix outputs, the TFLs, and generating and updating a memo automatically. A key part of this process is the structured templates. These are the templates that define the memo. These templates are generated by Certara with the Certara scientists, and now the AI tool is given these templates together with prompts to fill in the missing information that is study or analysis specific. And that is the information that you upload. Now it generates the documents in a controlled and standardized way based on these templates and based on these uploaded data. Now, these templates were generated using industry best practices based on Certara's knowledge of the industry. So that means that not only do you get a memo, you get a memo that is ready for prime time because it follows best practices. AI didn't invent the structure, it just simply follows what has already been done based on the industry knowledge Certara provided in its templates. Also means that as a user, you don't have to be a prompt engineer to use this tool. Simply upload what your analysis has produced and enjoy the outcome. Behind the scenes, the content is generated using another Certara tool, CoAuthor. With the CoAuthor platform, you can create your own document templates. You can design your own output. This is what AI PK Reports has already done for you. CoAuthor behind the scenes is utilized here to extract the documents and do all the output. It does that with strict boundaries, meaning it avoids hallucinations. It's not making up data, it strictly analyzes the data provided and put it into the structured memo as provided. This all happens in a secure system, so that means your data is not given to other organizations, it stays within Certara and is also removed after it is no longer needed by the system to produce the output you've decided. Now, let's take a look at what the software looks like in a quick demo of the solution. So when in Certara admin, when an organization has licenses, then they can see AI PK reports on their main application screen. So you see it right here, and the user can go to that, click on AI PK reports, and that will open the application. So you see here only one memo that is available for the organization. Multiple memos can be provided here, and then the user can see which one is most suitable for the memo that they want to create. Now, once they click Create Report, it will open up a screen like this, and it will ask the user for specific information. This is the information that needs to be loaded to a specific type of part of the document or provide specific type of answers. This is dependent on the type of memo that needs to be created. At the moment, we focus on preclinical memos, as mentioned. And so this is all asking information that would be suitable for this type of analysis. So we see here that protocol information or analysis plan can be uploaded, information summary timetables, PK parameters, time figures, summary time figures, and some additional information, and then PK parameters. I'll show a quick demo of what that looks like. You see here that there's a download sample available. The samples kind of shows what type of document is provided or required for that particular type of memo. So let's take a look at those samples. So what they look like. So this is just a very basic protocol example, right? But it shows here information here about the title, information like the study number, and then some other basic information about how this is being done. This is information that will be utilized later on by the AI system to fill in the specific information. So the study number and the type of research is all being transferred into the memo directly from the protocol. Similar if we go to the other documents. So here is the information, the individual summary and concentration timetable. And of course, this can be anything. This is the output from Phoenix. This is just a Word document, but it is in tabular format. These are not pictures. These are actual tables that are, like I said, TFL or Phoenix has generated. They don't need to be a specific format. The AI system will interpret these tables and get the information it needs from these particular tables. So we see here different information, similar with figures. Now, figures are not interpreted. So there it is just the figures are just the figures that are going to be copied to the memo. So any figure you provide will just be placed in the right location. So and then we have the additional information where you can provide specific information that will enhance the quality of the report. So for example, we have here the version of win on Lin that we provided. We'll see that later on provided in the memo as well. And other information that we can put specific constraints in here and they will provide that later in the memo. Finally, the PK parameters document. This often will be a standard document within your organization. You could either use our sample or provide the sample that you have, the standard that you have for your organization, and upload that. And then the system, once you've uploaded those, now in this case, I will upload them all manually, but of course you can have them in Integral and upload them, download them from Integral and then place them in here. But it works completely independent. It's not related to Phoenix. It is not related to WinOnLin specific, anywhere the information can come from. But of course, it needs to have the information that will then support the memo. So uploading these files here, just quickly going through this, and then it starts working. Now, depending on the type of memo, depending on the size of the data, this can take anywhere from 5 minutes to half an hour and sometimes even longer. So it will load through the data. You will see progress as it's being loaded, and I'm just going faster through here till at the end it has this download is ready. So when it is ready, the system will download it as a Word document. Note that in the background, we're now removing all the data related to you. So all the sources, everything is now being removed. So you can only download it once. After that, you have to regenerate it based on new information. And now we see what it has produced. So you noticed that based on the information provided, it has now filled in the study number. We saw that earlier in the protocol. We saw, of course, the protocol number, the product, anything else that is now is automatically provided in here. What it doesn't know, it will say, for example, no authors provided, and it will say that in the document as well. If it can't find anything, it will indicate it as such. So no authors were provided. And so on, similar with other tables, it will fill in all this information. And if it is unsure, you see the please review type scenarios to make sure that things need to be verified. But all of this was generated from scratch. When it started, the template is just empty documents and prompts. Certara provided the prompts for all these documents and now fills it in. And you see it was filled in about the study, that it is a toxicokinetic on dogs following a single oral dose, something directly taken from the protocol. And it fills in with the mean Cmax values, what they were, how they were generated, what the values were. Similar with other things, anything that was important is now immediately added to the document. And you see all the information was just read from the specific tables to make sure that it makes it into these memos. So we see that right here. Similar with additional information, the BLQ rules, how they were used, Phoenix Win on Lin version, stuff like that, purposely took an old version. So you see it's not just hard coding it and so on goes into the system itself. Now, when we go through it and you see just more chapters that were being generated at the end, it is just copying the tables and figures. It doesn't do any additional formatting. It just takes them as you provide them in the Word document. So however pretty and whatever makeup you did to those, they will copy it directly into the memo. It will retain some formatting options from there, of course, so that whatever formatting you do the page and paper size, so you see here nice like that it will fit on the paper, it will keep those. Now, and from this point as an organization, once you have the images and you see all the images in here, you can choose how you want to utilize those, whether you now want to adjust this document, and for example, insert your official company header in here, or that you now copy this information to your official company template. So these are hard-coded templates as part of AIPK reports with the templates already provided, unlike the CoAuthor product itself, where you can create the templates yourself as an organization. So that's a little bit of a demo of this product. Yeah, hope that was clear. And yeah, let's take a look at the next steps. I'm excited to tell you that the first version of AIPK reports is now available. Version 1.0 was released late December last year. It focuses on toxicokinetic memo generation and includes a variety of predefined templates where you as the user select the templates and then upload the data to get the output that is generated. With this first scope, we're focusing on these initial templates. Throughout 2026, we're planning to release more templates and additional type of reports that can be generated using the same technology. We're focusing deeply on the integration with other aspects, and for example, integration to Integral is also something that's on our roadmap. We of course want to evaluate the users, see the quality that it produces based on the variety of input provided by our customers. This will help us extend it, and your feedback is therefore also greatly appreciated to see how it generates it, how much it helps you, and where it can be further improved in this document generation. This also will help us target our resources and see what type of memos would be most valuable to add to the system for automatic content generation so that we could save you the maximum amount of time with doing these analysis. As mentioned, AIPK Reports is available today. It's available as an add-on to Phoenix Cloud for those of you that are Phoenix Cloud users. And for customers interested in adopting it, it can be enabled if you would use the highest tier of Phoenix Cloud. With that, that is the end of the information, and I will turn it back to Brian, where we can go into question and answers.